the bold, the brave, the beautiful. They turned their problems into prospects, crying into creation, pain into purposes, trials into triumph. Your show every Saturday, 7 p.m. Central African Time. Tune in and be blessed. Brought to you by Shunem K.
Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We are super excited that you have decided to join us today in this episode where we are reminiscing on the words that have been shared by the childless. And you can be super blessed to get counsel if you are childless. If you are not childless, this episode is for you. This is the series of the bold, the brave, and the beautiful. Sit back, relax, and be blessed as you get words, counsel, advice, guidance from those who are walking the journey. Thank you. And as a Christian, how is that for you?
To be linked with pain, I think that's one of the central themes of Christianity, and indeed one of the central themes of being alive, I think. We know that anyone who's been Christian for more than 5 minutes knows that being Christian and having faith doesn't necessarily inoculate you against pain. So we are still susceptible to suffering. We're susceptible to illness. We're susceptible to childlessness and singledom and other states of living that we don't want to be in. So suffering is it's part of our lives, and God doesn't always necessarily deliver us from those places. Sometimes he answers prayer, but other times his answer is more about, no, I'm going to leave you there just a little bit longer because something else is down the road there. Something else is just around the corner, and I want you to stay on this road. We don't always know what that is, though. We don't always get the answer neatly packaged and wrapped up with a bow on top. So sometimes we are always left wondering about that. But I think we, the church, we need to get better at talking about pain because it's real. Yeah.
Thing that have assisted me in my marriage is the foundation that I had with my wife. I knew why I was getting in a marriage, and of course, I wanted to get in a marriage that is lasting, and that will not be. Right. I told myself, anything that will come along, yes, let it come, but it mustn't end my marriage. I thought of the worst things that can happen, one of which including not having children. So in my view, that you must know why you are getting in a marriage. Because if you are getting in a marriage to have children and you don't have them, you will quickly march out.
What do you know now that you wish you knew before you say, I do?
There are things that the marriage counselor is going to tell you, but there are things that he's never going to tell you. And then life will teach you those things. When we get into marriage, we have myths that we have about marriage that are informed by maybe the family of origin, our career, our religion. So when we get into marriage, we have this ideal kind of a picture of a marriage. So we go with those myths. They are not necessarily evil. I can give maybe examples of myths. Maybe nathi singangena emtshadweni wethu sizabe sihlala eSelborne Park. It's a good myth, eh? Sizabe sihlala eSelborne Park, but then kungasenzakali ngaleyo ndlela bese siyahlala eCountry Park. Those are parks. Ngamapark womthu akitsho, yes. Ngamapark womthu. So when that happens, I have to re-author the myth that I had before I entered into marriage. I hope you understand that. If I don't do that kind of a thing, then I will have a problem of trying to build a home that may never be, a utopia. It will be in my dreams, but that thing will not happen. Okay, so one of those things that I wished maybe the marriage counselor would have spoken about and helped me to deal with it is not having children. We don't have any children. We don't regret we don't have any children. There is always God's time to have children. But for you to get to the stage that I am in, to actually talk about this in public, it takes a great deal for you to get there. If I was prepared before that this thing can happen, if I was prepared by my marriage officer, because the myth that I had, the myth that I had was, that we had actually, was that we are going to have a boy and a girl. And so this is how we have reauthored this myth. I am the boy and she is the girl. So, and life goes on. And this is to say, if you are reauthoring this myth, then you are taking your pain and you are using your pain as a whip to lash out the devil. And you are saying, okay, Satan, this is what you have done. I just want to be a testimony that marriage is complete without children. It is love that cements it, nothing else. It is love that cements it.
Now, in the African context, people marry for children in the African context. But in the biblical context, the main reason why Eve was created was for companionship. So I think I'm a good helpmate to my husband.
When God created Adam and Eve, after Adam, he said, I want to give you a helper.
Okay.
Right? That was before even the kids, right?
Okay.
So mine is a helper.
All right.
I think people forget that part. They only think of the be fruitful.
Thank God for that. I am with Mr. Steve, and I just caught up with him, and he wants to share with us just few words to encourage men that are in our childless shoes. Mr. Steve, welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. I want to remind the men who are in the childlessness that this journey needs support from both the man and the woman. Remember, you are people who are joined together by God, that you live together, you stay together, you live, you cleave, and become one flesh.
Amen.
So remember, when such calamities befall us in this journey, remember, as men, you need to support the ladies.
Amina.
You don't need to have any blame game that maybe the lady is the one who has brought this bad man. But remember to encourage her as you keep on waiting. At the appointed time, God will fulfill his promise. But remember, even from the words of the three men in the book of Daniel chapter 3, they said that our God that we serve, we are very sure that he will deliver us. But even if he will not, be sure that we will not be able to bow down and worship the image. So in this regard, even if God will not give you children, keep on supporting each other, depending on him for the daily provisions of this life.
Now, in an African setting, when a woman fails to have a child, it is easy for them to be maybe abused physically, emotionally, maybe verbally. It may be either the husband or the in-laws, mother-in-law, or the aunties. Madam Nyati, can I put you on the spot at the moment? And maybe you share your own experience and how that is heartbreaking in this regard, when a child has not been born, and also violence and abuse comes because of that kind of a thing.
Okay, thank you for that. There's so many types of abuse that come, especially to a couple that may be childless. There's people who talk, they don't even know what your story is or what is happening. They will just start talking, you are labeled, you are given names. And then in the case of in-laws, I'll give my own example. Like you said, that you're putting me on the spot, I will add on the spotlight. I had in-laws who already had children, even the younger ones. And here is Babs, she's still childless. Then they started calling me Nagamtwana as a way to encourage something which is medically impossible for me to be having a child, right? So by calling me Nagamtwana, they are putting me under pressure so that I may do something about it. But nobody was considering the case. They knew that I had cancer. It's not like it was a secret or anything. The cancer was there, everyone knew about it. But because we are procreators, silabantwana and what. So they put pressure on you. And then they give phone. Maybe we are elsewhere. By who? You know what I'm going through. Or maybe you are not too serious. Cancer, but abanye abantu balabantwana even with the cancer. One of the examples they gave was of someone who had a child before the cancer. So there were so many things. I think the straw that broke the horse's back was when I had a hysterectomy, which means I'm no longer a woman, basically. That's what it meant. So the insults kept increasing. And the pressure on the husband became even more because they keep talking about this. How are we supposed to live as a family like this? And you are a doctor, you deserve to have abantwana, to take your name and things like that. So there's so much pressure. And then in the church itself, they would also be defensive towards the husband because, I don't know, maybe it's a church thing. I'm still not sure where that is coming from. But they were telling me to be okay with what was happening. Oh my. To the extent of one shepherdess telling me, you are just being dramatic. Abuse is nothing. The church does not allow this and that. You don't even know what is going on. And because you want to protect the image of the church, which makes me wonder, because the church is supposed to embrace the broken and help them heal. But if we are now protecting this one because of his profession, what will people say if we turn our backs on the doctor? So there was so much drama within the family, within the church, and even in society. I remember we came to a point where I was even accused of turning some of his patients against him so that they stay with me. But we are not in the same profession. I'm a psychotherapist. What I heal and what is healing, they are two different things. So it's quite a stressful thing to go through as a Christian, and still remain faithful to God, because at the end of the day, it's about my relationship with God and not with someone else. But it takes a lot of strength to say, I'm going to ignore all the other voices and just stand where I stand. Because at the end of the day, it's my relationship with God, not with everyone else around me.
We have read and some have sang songs. I'll stay for my kids. I said ours is unique, my friend. For 25 years, it's not about staying for kids. There is no condition. The condition that we are staying together is because of love.
Ultimately, whether you have the baby or whether you don't, we have to know that we're enough just as we are. And that, you know, even if you don't have the baby dream, as you said before, there are lots of other dreams that we can have, and, you know, they're not too shabby either. I've got to travel the world with my husband and do lots of beautiful things and write my book, and I get to help people every day with their grief and loss. So there are lots of other things that we can do with our life if we're not meant to have one particular dream. And I think sometimes it can be better for our soul to let go of that dream if it's not serving us or it's affecting our mental health.
Well, first of all, as the book suggests, get a fur baby. Fur babies are awesome. But finally, there is hope after childlessness, guys. There is life after childlessness. And I especially encourage you, trust in Jesus, even when people let us down, even when churches and society let us down. Jesus has you. So as much as you possibly can, cling to Jesus.
Amen.
That for every Sarah there is an Isaac, for every Rachel there is a Joseph, for every Hannah there is a Samuel, for every Elizabeth there is a John. So don't you despair. Remember that God's timing is always perfect. Remember that delay is not denial, because I have learned that God's next time is the best time.
Brought to you by Shunem K.
Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button.